Hello all. I am here specifically today to talk to those of you out there that are dizzy, my dizzy gang. That is a lot of what I do all day long as a physical therapist. And I wanted to chat with you because a lot of times people come to clinic and they're very disappointed when they don't have a crystal problem. So previous videos have addressed the crystal problem, and that's certainly one type of vertigo, but there are many types of vertigo. And sometimes the doctors can't come up with a name for it. And I'm here to tell you that that is okay. We like diagnoses. We like to have a magic pill. But for the majority of the patients that I see with vertigo or dizziness, there really is no magic pill. There is vestibular rehab. And part of vestibular rehab is understanding what your triggers are, how to work around those, and then there are some ways to strengthen the system. Let's talk a little bit about what some of the options are. Many of you may have heard of the diagnosis of Meniere's disease. Good news is it's not super common. It is an overaccumulation of fluid inside the ear, not the part where you can feel, okay, but inside the eardrum. And it can respond to some exercises, but you have to be real careful with that, because just like any diagnosis attached to dizziness, which a lot of times, to be honest, is a shot in the dark, okay, diagnosing dizziness as to the specific cause can be very, very tricky. And I'll leave that to the physicians. But what I know is that there's not a lot of medication that really fixes the problem rather than band-aids the problem. Okay, there are medications out there called meclizine, Antrovert. Sometimes Valium is used. But interestingly enough, I believe all of those have the side effect written of dizziness. Take it for dizziness, side effect of dizziness. So it's really important to know that there are things you can do even if you don't have a crystal problem. I really want you to hear me when I say that, because people feel lost. People feel disappointed when they don't have a crystal problem. But that is certainly still manageable, okay? Even when someone has a crystal problem, at least the way we treat it here, is we work on getting the crystals back to where they're supposed to be, and then you still have to strengthen the system. Because once you have a crystal problem, there's usually a weakness that occurs after that. Just like if you were to break your arm and you were in a cast for 12 weeks, okay, let's call that maybe the crystal phase of things. You get to a healthcare provider who fixes your crystals. That would equate to you going to the orthopedist, and after 12 weeks of being in the cast, they x-ray it and they say, it's all healed, we're going to take the cast off now. Even if you've never broken your arm, you can guess that they take the cast off and that arm would just not be perfect, right? It needs some rest. It would need some exercise to get it back on track. And it would probably never be, well, it's not going to be completely the same. It's not going to function exactly the same. That's how I look at a crystal problem. That's how I look at any inner ear problem, really. There are no cures, okay? Crystals or benign positional vertigo, you can make a dramatic difference fairly quickly with rehab, okay, by getting the crystals back to where they're supposed to be, but nothing's going to change the fact that that occurred. And here's the thing, once you have a crystal problem, it tends to recur. So it's not like you just get it once and you're done, okay? It's about managing symptoms, whether it be crystals, whether it be Meniere's disease, whether it be they think you had a virus in your ear, or maybe they just don't know. And they've diagnosed you with dizziness and vertigo, which really are symptoms. They're not diagnoses. My point is, people feel very lost. They don't know where to turn. There are options for those of you that don't have a crystal problem. There are options for Meniere's disease. There are options for those people that don't have a diagnosis because nobody can figure out what's going on. You've had the CTs, you've had the MRIs, you've had everything. Maybe you've even had a VNG, which is a video nystagmography, by an audiologist or an ENT, and they still can't figure it out. Here's what I want you to know. you can be taught and helped to figure out what your triggers are, how to avoid, and how to compensate. At the very least, those things need to be done. Ignoring this, putting it in the corner, people saying, well, you just have it, that's the way it is. I don't think that's okay. We need to know how to function. We need to know how to find joy in our lives, be productive members of society, despite the fact that some of you have dizziness and vertigo, and I'm very sure that can be done. No matter where you live, there is a vestibular rehab specialist somewhere near you. I'm pretty darn sure. And I have some resources. I'll put it in the description and I'll put it in the comments where you can find those people, vestibular rehab specialists that get this, that live this, that want to help you, because we do exist all over the world, and I'll share that information with you. So I'm here today to let you know that if you have dizziness and vertigo, there is hope, okay? There are things that you can do to feel better and gain more control over your life. As someone with vertigo, I feel like it takes a lot of patience and it can be a little scary. But if you lock arms with the right person who knows how to help you, and that's always the hardest part, right? So I'm sharing this resource with you because this is really, if you can find that person, things can get much more manageable. All right. I hope you feel hopeful. I hope you check out the comments in the description so you can look at this resource and try to find someone near you that can be helpful if you're struggling.